on top of my glasses. I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Welcome to All Things Creepy with Ghostly Travels. Your hosts, Patty and Lee, and our special guests, Scott and Kimberly, tonight. Welcome, guys, to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said to you guys, backstage, I've been watching all you guys' stuff, and you guys are just so energetic and just doing stuff, the motorcycles. Like, these are my kind of people.
Yeah, after the last month, I don't feel so energetic. We just got home from our big trip we had.
Yeah, over like 5,000 miles is what I heard Kimberly say.
Yeah, 5,100 and change or something.
Lots of junk food and 20 pounds extra later.
Now, is that a yearly event or what?
It has been. That was their last one. That was their 14th year. The Michigan
Paracon.
The convention up there. And Brad Blair and the UPPRS that puts it on up there, they decided that this was going to be the last one. So that
didn't I see something recently about somebody, is it fake, about next year, something about that?
They're doing it kind of
a presents, I think.
Yeah, they're doing a little something different, nothing to the scale they've been doing.
Oh, okay. So a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Smaller stuff, yeah.
And I'm not sure what that entails yet because I've only seen like teasers out there. I think they announced it, and but it is the Michigan Paracon presents. So it's Brad Blair and some other folks that are behind it, and that's all I know. That's all I can tell you.
I know putting events on are a headache because we've put several on in the past, and they're headaches.
Wow. Yeah. Everyone I've talked to, I don't envy them at all.
No,
too much
because you've got too much overhead to worry about to make sure that everything falls into play and everything is going smooth. So it's something.
Yeah. And you know what? There's so many now. So trying to schedule where everybody's going to go and who you can get to come in to present, it would be a nightmare.
Yeah. To find out, okay, are you, because people book, like right now, they're booking for 2025.
Yeah, that's true. That's Scott and I. We'd love to get booked for 2025 because we're done for the year. We shot our budget, and so we're looking.
You're like, okay, we're done.
I mean, technically, we shot 2025's budget as well on that trip.
We shot the wall.
That was a lot of You guys were everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, I felt like you went so much further than the Michigan Paracon. I felt like there was a lot of side trips there.
Yeah, we decided we were going, and then it was like, well, let's make it worthwhile. Let's do an investigation. And for one investigation became two, and then two became three. And
isn't it like
we can't go through certain areas without stopping at certain places. And so it's like, man, we're going to be mad at ourselves if we don't stop and work this in. And we originally were living in Sturgis, South Dakota. So we just moved down to Mesquite, Nevada in February. So we've gotten further away from everywhere and everybody we want to see. So that was a long trip. That's a long trip.
Oh, I bet so. But then, like you said, we are all fascinated. We love the paranormal. So when we're on a road trip and you have all that time, you're like, let's go see what we can get near us. Let's go there.
We always like going to Whispers, but you started talking on your page about Whispers, getting over there sometime to do Whispers, and it got us like, we need to go back to Whispers. And so we added it because I think you guys put the bug in our ear.
That place was just crazy that night.
Yeah.
When Patty and I were upstairs in the second floor there. We were in the girls' room, and oh my God, from there on. And you know what? You can have multiple people, which we did. We had, I want to say there was 4 or 5 other people.
Okay.
And they were upstairs. They were, and those, I can't believe how, isolated it was where I couldn't hear anybody.
Right.
Until they got real close to the stairway, then I can hear them, I was like, wait, I think that's somebody coming up or coming down. But that place has some really great activity. I was just blown away. I was like, because Kim, you've got the abilities. So when you go into those places, I try not to, and we all do it as paranormal. We want to know as much as we can, but then we don't want to go in there and start talking. So I want to clear my mind. So
yep. One of the reasons I love that place so much, hey, that is our friends
Michelle
that live in
Charity.
Yeah, they live in Sioux Falls.
Oh, well, hello guys. Thanks for joining us.
So they one of the things I like about Whispers is because I feel like it's like an onion, it's layered. You don't know what you're going to get. And so there's so much to it. It's like a crapshoot. And that's what makes that place so fun, because it's so different. And it's sometimes we go there and we get the exact same thing. And it's like, and then other times something else happens. It's like, oh, I can't wait to check our footage on that one. Like we think that it was really quiet this last time, but I know that it wasn't. Yeah, we got to go look. There was something going on there for sure. Yeah. We caught a woman, and we've never caught actual pictures there. Now other people have, but the night we were there too. We went in early to talk to Rich because we brought some friends along who'd never been there, so he gave a tour. And so we're just standing downstairs talking, and one of our friends, Mark Paranormal, Trish and Terry Marks, they're out of North Carolina. They came halfway and joined us to go through that. And we were bragging up Whispers. And he's standing there. There's a private joke between them.
I was going to say, Tony.
That's funny.
I'll tell you in a second.
So we were standing there. I'm like, there's a guy standing behind you, Terry, and he's a non-believer. It's like, yeah, if I don't see it and take a picture, I'm not going to believe it. He's like, oh, yeah. So he reached up really quick with his phone and started snapping behind him, in the mirror behind him. And well, damn, we caught a woman in the picture. And we never catch pictures usually. That was the first one. And then the next night, it was dead quiet.
Yeah, when we were setting up cameras, we got somebody banged on the door going up to the third floor right there at the nursery that Rich was talking about that.
That was new for us.
Yeah, and then we were setting up cameras, and we heard somebody bang on that door, and we're just like
quiet it down in there. It was a bam, bam, bam.
And then that was real early, like, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock at night. And then the rest of the night, there wasn't a whole lot going on. It was relatively quiet. I mean, as far as
you felt it,
real time stuff,
they were there. They just but actually catching stuff on footage, because we've caught some neat stuff. The common stuff people caught. I don't know if you got the door opening, and when you guys were there,
we did not. I was sitting there, and I was actually trying to use like my manpower to like, come on, with my mind, turn that knob and open that door.
Right? I summon you.
So what was that wardrobe up on the third floor when you were there? That new wardrobe?
Oh,
or not the wardrobe, the dresser with the mirror in the red room?
Yes.
Okay.
They just put it in there that week when we were there. And she said it, and the lady that gave us the tour said that they found that at a oxygen auction up in North Indiana.
Yes.
So someone that was with us goes, it was Denise. She goes, that looks so familiar. And I look back like, this dresser.
Yeah, she said she has the same furniture or something.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there was activity. I don't know if they told you, they kept the mirror salted the lady gave it to him because there was always activity tied to that. And sure enough, what I thought was interesting is in that corner of the room, that's where the purported portal is. And I felt that energy. It was pretty quiet. Yes. And they stuck the dresser right next to it.
And imagine
so we were trying to catch stuff. Yeah. We were trying to catch stuff to see how it played next to each other, but it was interesting. But there was some activity type.
They had no salt on it. So it was full open. I didn't spend a lot of time in that room. I was actually in the other side and the little like sand.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we were getting activity there because one of the guys that was with us, we're all sitting around the table, and he had like a GoPro camera on his chest, and he was filming, and you could see where everybody's knees are and feet away from the table. and that little table just like does that. And I'm like, I heard it because I'm looking towards the red room, and I'm videoing, and I was like, what was that? And I swore I thought somebody bumped the table. So he goes over his footage and sent it to me. He goes, here you go.
Yeah. I believe that wholeheartedly because that house has that kind of energy. I've never done table tipping before, and I chose to do it with Trish, who they're skeptics, and Sonia, the one that probably gave you the tour.
Yes,
we did table tipping. I'll tell you what, that was quite the experience. That table was crazy. And when you talk about lifting up, that stuff was happening like crazy in that house. So if you ever get a chance and aren't afraid to do table tipping, I suggest you try it in that house. We did it up in the servants' quarters.
Yeah, that would be the place to do it because of just how, when you walk in, you've got that, you just feel the vibe. Like, yes. Wow. And even when I first walked in, I felt the fire. That was the first thing. I was like, you could smell it. And yes. I go outside when everybody's in the dining area. It's where we had our equipment. So I wanted to do some like B-roll shots for video. So I went out, and as I came back in, I stopped, and I'm like,
that's interesting.
Yeah, and I could smell it. I was like, this is weird. And
that's interesting. That's where we caught the woman in the mirrors in that room.
Yeah, to just like to say, okay, I want to take a shot behind me. Boom.
Yeah.
Or boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so bummed out because we were up in the master bedroom. And actually, Lee was in there, and I was in the bedroom next door. And then, I joined him, and he was TikToking. And so I was filming him. He's sitting in the chair, and he could see out the door. And all of a sudden, he starts freaking out, and he's like, that light just turned on. And he's like, you guys saw that? And I'm like, I didn't see anything. I'm over here working.
Well, hold on. You didn't say it like I did.
I know.
On TikTok, I was like, oh my God, the light on the end of the room just came on. And I'm like, you all have seen that, right?
So
I'm going to have to go back and watch that now.
Yeah, so we run in there because everybody's like, go to it. And I'm like, I'm trying. It's dark.
And we finally don't run
start the lights on.
But when we walked past that restroom and we hit the threshold and I stepped into that room, I heard a man on my right side tell me to get the hell out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I stopped and Patty's videoing, and I'm like, did you hear that? And she goes, hear what? And I was like, there was someone right here that just told me to get the hell out of this room. And so we went over to the lamp. Now, I know it was off because I was filming and we were upstairs. There was no lights on. I'm like, oh, my God, there it is. It's on.
Probably didn't want a man in there. But this last time when we went there, my SLS actually caught a man. It was only when me and Trish were up there. I don't know if you guys saw that footage, but it's very risky. Yet, no. He spread across the bed. And I haven't gone through footage. That was just me filming over my shoulder with my phone to catch that. And he was having fun. And it was like, are you kidding me? And then he showed up in the other room and started doing it again. Because I assume that it's a he, but yeah. So, and we never caught any stick figures when the guys was with us.
My first investigation I ever done was at Moundsville Penitentiary. And that was 99. Yeah. January 99. And so we're in the Sugar Shack. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh, you got to go there. We can get it booked because get a group of us to go. It's fun. Because Patty, we went a few years ago with the Taps family, and it was a blast. And to go back, because I haven't been back there since 99, but we're in the Sugar Shack, me and the guy that I'm with. And we go there about 6 p.m, and I'm new to this. I got involved in the paranormal because losing my son a year prior. And thank you. I go with that later. But I'm in this building and I'm just like fascinated. Like, I can't believe I'm sitting in a prison. And I thought it was him because we were sitting in 2 fold-up chairs. pretty much at an angle at each other. And I'm looking over towards the entryway of the Sugar Shack where they would have the inmates come in from the outside into that area. If it was snowing or raining, that's where they put them. All of a sudden, man, something was lifting my pant leg up. And I looked at him, I was like, what are you doing? And at the time I had like, my dad gave me a big C battery flashlight that he used in the mill. I'm like this, I tried to turn it on and I looked down and I said, it got to my knee. And I was like, okay, get off. I was like,
you know, that's a crazy first.
Yeah, it's a good first
That's
one.
a good one. And it's always the first ones that get you hooked, isn't it? Because
I was hooked that night ever since. Because that was the night. This is so cool about it. The guy that worked there was a tour guide, and he used to be a guard there back in his prime. And we were the only ones in the whole prison from 11:30 till 6 in the morning. We had the whole prison to ourselves. Nice. And he was in this little bunkhouse, and he goes, "You need me? Here's my two-way radio. Just call me, and I'll be there in a heartbeat." I was like, "Okay." So he calls us about 2:30. We're in the Sugar Shack after that frisky activity, and we're watching the water heater area. There's a couple water heaters because right above us to the left was where he was stationed. And I was like, I think I see a shadow. So we're focusing on this water heater, and I was like, look to the left of this water heater. I think that's a shadow popping out of there. Like, hey, what's going on?
Oh, yeah. And
right at that moment, the two-way radio goes, and I threw it. Like, shoom. I was like, oh my God, what was that? then I had to find it. And I saw the little red light on the floor, and I was like, here it is. And I was like, I hope I didn't destroy his two-way radio.
And nobody saw that.
No, so he's like, hey, my son's here. Can he investigate with you guys for a little while? And I'm like, sure. I was like, but how do I get to you? I don't even know how I got down here. So how do I get to you? So where are you? I said, I think we're in the Sugar Shack. And he goes, okay, I'll be down. So this boy and him walks in, and this boy's got a big cowboy hat on and a tight T-shirt, tucked in jeans, and these big boots. And I'm like, is that what you really investigated? And I looked at my friend like, that's not what you wear, is it? Well, he goes, I want to introduce you to my son. We investigated for 3 hours with Brad Paisley before Brad Paisley became a country singer.
No way. Oh, wow. That's cool.
That was my first investigation ever.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So he was so into it, and we're walking around the cell areas, and we hear a bang. And he was like, sorry, guys. He was squeezing in between us. He goes, I don't know what that was. I was like, this is my first time too, man.
That's cool.
That's awesome. You could have told him all kinds of stories.
Oh, I wish I could like get in touch with him, and say, hey, do you remember this?
That's a cool story.
I'm sure he probably shares that with his kids and family. That story.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was fantastic. And I'm like, wait a minute. Then when he started getting popular, I'm like, wait, that guy investigated with me.
Yeah.
Everybody like, really? I was like, yeah, he was at Moundsville Penitentiary.
That's awesome. That is so cool. So you guys, what's made you stop your podcast for a while? Just tired of it, burned out?
We were doing it every week for 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
And then, on top of that with life and kids at the time, they were young, and sports and investigations, because we done a lot of residential cases, and so before COVID killed that, and so we were just so busy and wore out, and I'm like, let's just take a break. So we took a break, and I've been thinking about it for about a year now. I was like, let's get back into it. And so she goes, well, you do all the talking mostly of the time anyway, so let's go. I'm like, all right.
You can see this, right? Yeah. I could have been sitting in the same room. It'd be fine.
Now we're going to start asking you questions.
I get it. I have a gift of gab.
Same here.
Works. The marriage works. It works great.
See, it works for you guys. It works for us. We're always like, Patty goes, I'm glad you came. Even like her work functions, I'm so glad you showed up, because at her Christmas parties, they usually rent out like it's called the Main Event here. It's like a big restaurant, like a Dave and Buster's style restaurant, game room, all kinds of stuff, and open bar. So you have dinner. We do the games. They give us little game cards, and let me get that on there.
That is true.
Ryan, go to bed.
Yeah, he works some long shifts too. So I'm like, Scott's like a little girl. He gives me crap because I'm on my phone talking to my girlfriends, and then I look over at him or Ryan are texting back and forth. I'm like, geez, like two women. Sorry, Ryan, you guys are cute.
Sorry, Ryan. After I just put you out there. Yeah, but that night at the every year she'll come up to the bar, and I've got like a bunch of people around me because I love exploring with mixed drinks, cocktails. Like, if you did this with this, and the bartenders are there, like, let's try it. And they're like, ooh, what would you call that? And I'm coming up with names. I'm asking people, what would you call that? And we come up with stupid names.
You'd love the Washoe Club. You'd love to come out to BC then. There was a bartender. Unfortunately, she went on to, yeah, it is a bromance.
I did nothing to Gladys. I don't know where that came from.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Lee and I definitely need to come out west.
Yeah, we do.
We would love to have you out here.
Well, because I think you believe in past lives.
I do. I really do.
I feel like my favorite past life, I had to be an outlaw, and the movie that Clint Eastwood where he, the good, the bad, and the ugly, where he starts going down, and it's like, and he's got the little sombrero on, and he's got his guns, and it's like a ghost town. I'm so fascinated with cowboy shows. I'm like, I told Patty, I was like, that's one of our vacations. We go to the beach all the time. Like this November, we're going to be in Aruba. I was like, so
that's awesome.
We got to go west, and we got to stay at a ranch at least for a few days.
Okay.
I'm in. I'm ready.
I could tell you some guest ranches in Wyoming, but I don't know any around here.
Now, where are you guys at there?
What's that?
Where are you located right now?
In Mesquite, Nevada, just 80 miles northeast of Vegas. So you have Goldfield, Tonopah, all that stuff, all the mining towns, a lot of ghost towns around here.
A lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about 3 hours, I think, or 3.5 from Goldfield.
So do you guys have?
What is it?
So you guys get to have lunch all the time with Zach Bagans down at the Haunted Mansion, our museum?
You know what? I have yet to go see his museum, and honestly, I want to see it. I'm going to full disclosure. I want to see his museum.
I want to as well.
I hear it's amazing with this.
Yeah. What is like to come back down now? Are you tired?
Yeah, I guess he's getting tired.
You need to get your memes, Ryan.
So why don't we let's I want to ask you guys some questions. So when did you guys get started into the paranormal? Before you guys met, or was it something?
I did. I was in it before we met. So my first time that I went on anything was actually to the Winchester House. And I want to say that was in the late 90s. That was my first time that I went and did that. And being born with gifts and stuff, I've always explored that way, but I've never had anybody to go do things with. And I didn't know about events really, except, the tours and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'd go out and investigate, with my girlfriends or my family. Some of my brothers would go out and hit cemeteries and things like that. But yeah, so one of the things that when Scott and I got married 11 years ago, he was skeptic and never done any of this stuff. His family is very critical thinkers.
Paranormal wasn't even on my radar. It wasn't even my vocabulary when we met.
But it's like religion. I tell everybody, it's like religion and politics. I got it out there. You don't have to believe the same way as I do, but please respect my views. Absolutely. And so he's like, okay, he was good with it. And so sneaky little me wanted him to see my world. And so we had booked a trip into Vegas, and we decided to do a ghost tour to Good Springs.
The Pioneer Saloon.
And I roped him into doing a ghost tour. And he caught his first I caught my first EVP there with him. And from that point on, he's like, wait a minute. He couldn't debunk it. And so that's when it all started, with trying to bring in the equipment to debunk me. He used to roll his eyes at me when I'd tell him stuff. I have zero
abilities, if you will. Been doing it for a while now, where I can kind of sense some things. I get different feelings, but so for me, the equipment helps.
And that's why you build it.
Help me enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because I can't go into some place and just, I feel weird, and that's it.
Yeah.
I have some things we can, actually try to.
He never got anything out of me saying, oh, you know what? I see somebody standing over here. I mean, that did nothing for him, even if it excited me. But at the same time, I never had a mentor with my abilities until I got into the paranormal, actually doing this stuff. Then I found me a mentor, and then with the equipment and the mentorship, then it gave me confirmation, a lot of stuff. That's right, you're a muggle.
What the hell's a muggle?
I was going to ask, what is that?
Oh my God.
Guys, that's a Harry Potter theme. I know we're saying our Gen X, but she's Gen X, so she knows that. Oh my goodness.
I love Harry Potter.
So does all my friends. I
don't. I watched it with my daughter, the first or second one, and that was it. I'm like,
Some muggles.
Oh, jeez. And then, Scott, you just started to, when you started going out, you just doing investigations, you just thought, if I can build something, or what made you think about just building equipment for the paranormal?
Well,
we went gung ho on buying stuff.
Well, we had the basic recorder, I think is probably one, and a cheap EMF meter,
SB7.
Well, I don't think we got an SB7 for a while.
Obulus, those were our first items, I think.
But I think I bought our first SLS in 15 or 16.
No, you started making them in 15, 16. We bought one.
Well, we didn't go to Pioneer till like 15, I think, 14 or 15. Anyway, somewhere around there, I bought one, and I liked it, but I thought it was kind of an afterthought how it was put together. And so I thought, I could do just as good, if not better. So, I had my own version of an SLS for, quite a long time. And I didn't initially start out to sell them. Some friends were like, hey, could you make me one? Sure. That kind of stuff. And then 3 years ago, I think.
We're selling them on eBay for extra money.
Yeah, I did that. I mean, I think my best winter from November to February, I sold like 150 SLSs.
Gee,
it was crazy because as fast as I built them and put them on, they would sell. But then enters the world of 3D printers. And I bought my first 3D printer because I wanted to make that SLS smaller, more user-friendly, none of this bracket stuff put on,
glue,
all that stuff. So after I did that, of course, you get one 3D printer, and then it's like, hey, I need another 3D printer.
An addiction.
And another one.
An addiction.
Yeah. So when we moved down here, I had 7 3D printers.
Jeez.
And I had 3 of them that were dual colors, so I could print 2 colors at the same time. But I've since upgraded those 7, and I'm down to, I've actually got 3 printers that I can go up to like 16 colors on each one.
So we upgraded because they were quicker overall.
They're faster. Yeah, they are super fast by comparison to the old stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it just like, well, I do an SLS, and then it's like, maybe I'll try doing something else, and I think we did our REM hand with, with the fingers light up. And that was the next thing. I did an EM pump. I think I'm going to bring that back. I made a smaller version of that. And then it's just like, well, I need something to complement this. So let's have a motion device, and the EMF. And
we didn't want to step on toes with all the other equipment makers out there. So we didn't want to like steal ideas.
Yeah.
But then people kept coming to us and say, can you make your spin on it? Because they like logos and just the thought process of the different, like the coffin, and so we started doing that only because people started asking us. But like the tripwire, we could make that. But the guy, that's his thing, the tripwire.
I understand it's a copycat business for the most part, because there's only so many different things you can do with, what we use.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Ryan. Not biased. But, we might delve into the spirit box world. I don't know. I've been thinking about that for a while because everybody's been asking us. I try to stay, the XLS and SLS are kind of our niche.
Staple.
But all, the other things are just to have some, more variety and things like that. And it works.
And we do customize it. Like, do you see Gypsy Witch's logo on there?
Yeah, we'll put team names, people's logos on equipment.
Yeah,
like
let them know that.
If you want an XLS, we put your new logo on it.
I want the XLS. So you guys have a sell here soon.
I'll tell you, it's based on LiDAR technology. That's the difference. And the mapping system is the money they spend.
If you use an SLS and then you go to use an XLS, you're going to you'll never use that SLS.
You'll never use that. Because I saw some of your videos and I'm like, that's like 2D to 3D.
Yes. Yeah.
So the SLS uses a two-dimensional, it shoots out an infrared grid. So it's looking for a human figure in that grid. Well, that's just, two-dimensional. Well, what the XLS is doing is sending out, it's got time of flight, which is like sonar LiDAR. And it's, it's calculating how much time it takes for that to come back. So
that is so cool.
That almost gets rid of all the false positives.
What's interesting is Microsoft, when they talked about that technology on that XLS, is supposedly that LiDAR type thing, you can actually look 10 meters like into water with it too. Now we haven't tried that yet to see, because I never, but it's interesting. I want to take that.
Since you brought underwater up, I was going to ask, you don't see a lot of people investigating underwater, like drownings and things like that, to make a piece of equipment where I can put underwater.
About it. The casing would have to be like a GoPro casing, waterproofing of some kind.
Yeah, absolutely. But it would also have to be. I always think outside the box, even when I buy stuff. Like, what if you did this? Because one of the first things that I did back when the K2 started is like, okay, I'm in the fire industry full-time job, and I know when CBs go off, radio frequency, the K2 goes boop boop, cell phones, boop boop. So I was at Harbor Freight, and I saw this little RF detector for like $15. And I bought it. I was reading it, and I Velcroed it to the top of my K2, and I turned it on, and I turned the K2 on. So I noticed that, and the RF makes a noise. So if the RF goes off and it goes like that, I know it's a cell phone, a police cruiser, a trucker going by. That is not paranormal. But if that K2 goes off and that RF does not.
Together. Oh, yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Scratching my head.
Right.
Yep. And that's why when we investigate, that's our rule. We try to take more than one way to back it up, because you get one, it's an anomaly. You get two or three, you're scratching your head. And that's how we investigate. That's our big thing, because that's what makes us do it, right?
We investigated a house, back in 2017 or so, 16, 17, somewhere around there, a farmhouse. And this woman, her two sons, they're not that far apart in age. One was in high school, one was in college. And their grandpa worked for Procter & Gamble. And he was a big entrepreneur. He did a lot of patents on things. Well, they were with us the night we investigated. And they were watching how one of our pieces of equipment was working. And we had the old periscope with the little sticks, the glue sticks. And he looked at that and he goes, "Can I open this?" I was like, it don't open. I said, "You turn it over to your 9-volt batteries." He goes, "Can you give me the website where I can buy one?" So
engineering.
He bought two. They took it apart and they took their idea and made it bigger. So they took their 3D printer and made this big box, right? And so they wanted to know, well, first of all, they was asking, you guys helped us out getting a lot of answers for our family. What is it that we can do to repay you? And we're like, well, we don't charge for our services. And I was like, well, you know what? Usually what I do is I got a belly. You can make us something. You can make us dinner one night when we come over and do the reveal. We can have a little party. Nice. No, we want to do something better than that. And so the grandpa and them was like, we're going to make you a piece of equipment. And we were looking at this little device. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, stay tuned. Well, I'm getting...
Hold up. Time out there, son.
You're the one that brought it up.
I was the one that brought it up. I never get my credit for this.
We better get in there.
To do something. And I jokingly said, well, you can make us some equipment.
Yep.
And she goes, like what? And I'm like, well, remember that device you guys were interested in? I'm like, it would be really cool since it is, static generated, if we could somehow make it so, we can snap photos at the time it's going off. So
like it.
That's when they put their brains together and they created us one off their 3D printer that had Bluetooth capability.
So
nice.
So you would have your phone or your tablet next to it, and there was a switch on the front. I got it downstairs because there's only 2 of them made, and you can switch it from photo to video, and you can set it in a room, and it also has sound. So
that's awesome.
If you're not in the room and something gets near it, it's going to, if it's in photo, it's going to snap shots constantly. If it's a video, it'll start recording. And
that's cool.
I like it.
Everybody started seeing it on our videos. Everybody's like, I want one of those. And so the guy that made the original Periscope, he saw the boy make this, and back and forth. It was a legal thing. And they were like, you don't have a patent on this. And he was swearing up and down he did, him and his dad and the guy that made it.
I know who you're talking about.
And so they got scared. And I was like, if they could be in it right now, some of the equipment they could be making for us right now.
Yeah.
To push this field farther, but we still use it, and it's a neat piece of equipment. It just runs off, back then he just had it running off of AA's, but now you can put one of those chargeable ones on there.
Yeah,
it's
I
was like,
it's sad, isn't it? Because that's the kind of people we do need in the field, the ones that are thinking outside the box, like yourself, and people who, like, the aha moment comes in and they write it down or they go tell somebody and it evolves from there. But everybody's so afraid to sharing what they got that it's tough.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I better not say that because somebody in this group's going to take my idea and run with it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't care. I just want to see it made.
Right? Yeah. I mean, the reason we ended up actually making it and going public with our stuff is because of demand. Everybody wanted our stuff. Then we didn't like the prices on some of the stuff.
Yes.
So that's why you'll see we tried to keep our prices and costs down lower than everybody else. Isn't because, it's just the 2 of us. It's not like we're trying to take all the business because we can't. It's a hobby, but we think it's only fair because everybody should get out there that wants to use equipment.
You said something that everybody needs to hear again. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
99% of us aren't getting famous.
or want to. We're doing it because our heart's in it. We're curious. I needed answers with my gifts. And the only way I could do that is to get people to believe me was to go down this road and to figure it's a lifelong process to try to figure out what all this is.
Oh, you're not,
that's good.
You're not kidding because at night, because my ability didn't open up till 2010. When I was at Mansfield Reformatory. And now I got to the point to where, I go to bed, I'm like, okay, this is my time. Because stuff comes to me all the time. I'm like, would you just back away?
Even.
Yeah. Like I can be in the happiest mood and I can feel somebody's energy and I'm depressed in like 2 seconds. I'm like, this isn't me.
You know what? That was the hardest. That was my first part. That was the hardest over all my life. I didn't realize I was the sponge grabbing onto other people's moods all the time. And I was a roller coaster mess and I didn't realize how to ground. I had nobody tell me how to do that stuff.
No.
I had no idea being empathic affected personality so much. And that in itself took a lot of, like you said, soul searching. Yeah. And then you go add all these other abilities into the mix. It's a tough thing for people, you know, and the only world that we really have is this one that's getting so popular. Then you have the downside to it, the people who make it ugly, but you know, it's still, I love it. Yep. I agree.
Yep.
I totally agree.
Not that we try to be authentic, honest, Charity, Michelle, we try, because the day that we don't have a good time with it anymore will be the day we close the doors and just go about our business.
You got to have fun.
You know?
Absolutely have to.
But if somebody comes to me and has legitimate questions and I will help them find it, because I'm just as curious as the next guy. I want to know. I don't have the answer.
Yeah, I'm like, if I don't know it, I'm going to find somebody that will.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I get a group of people together and we may not know it, at least be honest with them.
Yep, and I have been.
But some people think that they know it all. And it's like, well, how do you know that this is the real way?
Yeah.
The professional word and the expert word, they should never be used.
Exactly.
My opinion.
You know what, though? We did... I used to do events for I still do, for historical societies. But when they post our stuff and they say professionals in the paranormal, I'm like, would you please not say that?
Yeah, I know. It's hard. They want you to have the bragging rights that go with it. But
as soon as I post that, there's somebody in the field going,
yeah,
really, hey?
Yeah, there's too many vast opinions, and none of them are wrong, because none of us have the right answer. We don't know until we die what it's going to be. But
exactly, until we cross over and it's our time, we're like, that's why I don't get
was totally wrong.
Yeah. You know what I like to do as I build on my psychic abilities and stuff? I go to several different psychics and different people with gifts, and I just whether I take what I want and then I get rid of the rest if it don't agree, resonate. But I still respect all of them, right? Because I want to hear everybody's perspective. I want to know because like with the gifts, each person can do something different. They really can. Something might be stronger in their senses. Yeah, that's true. That's what makes it so great. I love seeing newbies investigate and be able to share, and explain to them why we think things are the way they are. But I don't go in and say, oh, that's a spirit. Because I don't know. It could be an alien playing as a spirit. I don't know what it is. So what it presents itself to me, I usually use words like that. It's presenting as to me, and let you guys figure out what it is. Because I'm just giving you what's coming through me, my symbols, and I could be way off base, but it might help. I've learned that that's actually helped me when other psychics have done that. That it's helped me realize my symbols are different from other people's symbols, and it's like a piece of the puzzle. It's like, oh, that was that for her, but I'm seeing it this way. Okay, I get it.
But isn't that the fascinating part about it is when you have the ability and you've got a paranormal team that they don't have the ability, and then you start to pick up things, or they start to pick up things first with equipment and things like that.
Yes.
And then it may not, and like I tell people my ability, I may be picking up something that shouldn't be at the beginning of the puzzle, it may be at the end. So whatever I tell you first, wait till the end of the night, because I'm going to put all this together, and not just me, but in the middle of this is the team putting this together.
Yes.
And it's like Scooby-Doo. We're putting the puzzle together, and I'm going to present it to you, and I'm going to take his mask off, and I'm going to say, it's Mr. Hank, the librarian. Yes.
Right? Then there's other houses or actual locations we've been several times and still haven't figured out that picture, because it goes back to layers. There's too much in a place. And one night or 4 hours investigation, you're not going to get all the answers on a place.
You're not.
You have to keep going back.
And, because my opinion is I always feel like, okay, we're in there for 6 to 8 hours. And somebody, I can't tell you, especially in residential, I don't live there. And so when you're investigating with me, the homeowners, I can't tell you that it's going to talk to me right away. And some people get mad when you say, no, nothing came to me, but let me get audio and video to see if we caught anything. Because we did have personal experiences. Some people when you're like, or if the other way around. Yes, there's a lot of activity in here, and you've got kids. Do you want us to do something about it? And they're like, no, we want this. And I'm like, no, you don't. I was like, what do you mean you want? And as we're investigating, because I have the homeowners there, because I feel like I wouldn't want a stranger in my home investigating my house if I wasn't there. So always have those, yes. So, when they're like, and they're on the phone and they're telling their friends, and then halfway through the investigation, it's like a party. And I'm like, no, we are done. You don't need help because you want the paranormal. And I'm like, you get all kinds of crazy people like that when you investigate, and you're really trying to put because I tell our clients when we do the preliminary, we have lives. We don't know you. We want to come and meet you. We want to see the atmosphere where we're investigating. So you know who we are as well.
Right.
And that all plays in a factor because we're stopping our life to come into your home.
Yeah.
And because then I say, then we investigate your house for how long, and then we got to go over it again and again and again with audio, video. Yes. I was like, so you're
kudos to you on doing residential, because you've got to look at so many facets with that. Kids, are they in preteen years? Causing all kinds of stuff. Is the place really haunted? Is it them trying to trip you up, trying to get you to come in there just to say you're fake or something? I mean, there's so many different things. And the mental aspect of it, of the people you're investigating, is the man and wife fighting at the time. There's so much, and so we steer clear if we can.
Well, we've been to a few when we get there, the homeowner will have friends and their family there, and they're drinking. And I'm like, did we walk in on a cookout? Do I got the wrong day?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're here for you. We want to investigate with you. And I'm like, seriously, I take my job serious here.
Yeah. So I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
This might cause a little people going, might cause a little friction. I don't know. How do you feel about when you go into investigation? Is it alcohol free, drug free? When you guys go in, is your minds clear when you go in and investigate? Like, because I know some groups go in and they might drink a little before they go in and loosen them up, as they call it. I'm not that girl. I'm not. I think you need to go in.
I'm not either.
Patty's not.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a time and a place to have your fun when you're investigating. When you're not investigating is the time to do it. But when you're going in investigating, I take that stuff serious.
Especially for residentials, because we may open up a can of worms because we're going to leave. We're going to pack our stuff and say, have a good night. We don't, when you go in there intoxicated or on drugs, you don't know what kind of issues you're going to cause this family. And I
invited a family member along on one of our first investigations to a phenomenal place. And I won't say where it was or how it was, but they were going out in their car and drinking, doing shots, and come back in, and we didn't know it. Ruined the investigation for us. So disappointed.
Yeah, because they get louder.
Yes.
I was just going to say, for one, they were super loud and the door was slamming. It's like, really.
So.
Just go to the bar. We're going to investigate.
There you go. I guess,
different kind of spirits.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess.
We were called out to a residential some years ago, and it was about 2.5 hours away. So, sadly, one of the homeowners was bedridden, and the complaint was, her adult children lived upstairs with their own children, and all of the activity seemed to be up there. And we're like, okay. And, this bedridden lady and her husband were the only ones home at the time. So we go upstairs to investigate, and we very quickly found a bunch of masks and drug paraphernalia. And we're like, okay, to us, that was like, here's why those little kids are getting scared, and we did spend some time investigating because we did feel like we had to do our due diligence. But at the same time, those so-called adult children, we think we're just messing with, having fun with their kids, putting these masks on, scaring them and
traumatizing them.
Yeah, it's just so devastating after, you spend all that time to drive out there. Plus, this woman is bedridden. She's doing what she can to try and help.
So when you're faced in a situation like that, how do you are you honest when you give them your opinion of the whole case? Do you say, I'm sorry, but this is what I saw and that's not kosher?
And what's so good about us is, I met Patty because she had a paranormal team come in, and I knew the guy that had the team, and he wanted a second opinion. So that's how I met Patty, is because so now when we do cases, especially residential, she knows that side, and she gets to the point like she looks for medications, she looks for side effects, she looks for those things, and she's talking to the homeowners. I mean, she gets these ladies. We were in a residential one time, and she had this lady, she had her crying, but she needed me to come in this room because she opened her up.
That makes me sound so terrible.
And I'm like, what you did? I walked in the room and I'm like, what did you do to her?
You need to have, if they invite you in and they welcome you in to do such a thing, that is like giving permission. And that's part of it. So don't feel bad about that at all.
And that night when she had that girl opened up and she was talking because they did some dark things, I'm sitting there on the bed beside Patty, and I'm squirming. I'm all over this bed and I'm squeezing her hand. And I'm like, I got to get out of this room. She goes, why? I said, I'm getting scratched. I had scratches all over my back.
Wow.
But I was stopping whatever that was to get to her, that girl that was sitting right below us on the floor. And I'm like, I'm not letting it happen. And Patty goes, do it. Take it for the team. And she kept whistling. I'm like, I'm trying.
Statement.
Well, can you imagine, and that's where my quote unquote client perspective kicked in. I remember when I had that first team in here, and they were great guys, but they didn't explain anything to me. They did not have me with them. They basically were upstairs here, doing their investigating. So I didn't know what was happening. So we make sure that we keep our residentials very, as involved as they want to be. But also, if Lee is sitting beside me, freaking out, going, oh my God, I'm getting scratched up. Oh, I'm dying. The client, the homeowner that doesn't go over well. So I'm like, you could do this later.
I could do this later after I get sacrificed in her bedroom.
You're right.
Exude that calm exterior.
Oh, and
I
this
would
lady
be using so much humor, you guys. I'd be like, Mom will take care of you later, baby.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is a little humor on this investigation. When we get there, she's talking about she caught pictures of the couch moving away from the wall, right? And I'm over there and I'm like holding on the couch. I was like, this is a heavy couch. And she goes, well, what would cause that? I'm like, I don't know. It's on carpet. So she goes, here's my pitch. Here's my phone. Swipe left. No, she meant swipe right. Because as soon as I swiped left, the first picture I saw was her butt naked on that couch. Somebody took a picture and I handed it to Jim, one of our teammates. I said, here. And he goes, oh, whoa. Oh,
here's your answer.
Yeah. And I'm like, is this going to be that kind of investigation? And
goodness.
You just never know what you walk into.
You don't. Walking into some residentials where can I use the restroom? Can you tell me where the restroom? We're halfway through the night. And he goes, yeah, use the one in the hallway here. And I go in there and I look on they got this little
cameras.
Bathroom window. And on the ledge of the bathroom window, he's got a bong, like a one hitter. And I'm like, there we go. Should have told me this earlier.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't unsee that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was something interesting that happened the day of that investigation. I was at work at my day job, and at the time I was more of a hands-on lab tech, and I work in the road construction materials. So I was standing at my fume hood and I looked over at the clock on the wall, but instead of the clock, I saw a face. And when we got to our investigation and met this woman's mother, it was that mother's face I saw. And I just could not figure it out. Well, we came to find out later that she was sort of antagonizing things and keeping, kind of feeding the bad relationship between her daughter and this husband. And, I really don't, I'm not psychic to my knowledge. But that one still to this day stumps me. Like, I distinctly remember I looked up at the clock and that I saw that lady's face. I'm like, what the?
I kind of explain that stuff as the strength of the spirit of the person when they were living and dying. I think she must have been a pretty strong spirit to show herself like that.
No, she was a living woman. She was alive.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, she was alive. Because,
really?
Patty said that and she walked in. I'm like, wait, she's still
not dead.
No.
Well, we don't want to tell you, ma'am, but the Grim Reaper visited us today on your death.
It looked just like you, lady.
Yeah, you're coming up. Looking at your watch, you're due.
Time to go.
Oh, howdy, guys, it's almost been an hour, and I know what's going on here at 9:00 is the debate. I know Kim.
We think it was already going on. We were like somewhere they posted it. It was earlier or something.
I think they come on the stage at 9.
It's a big show now.
It's the big show. Gotcha. They do the big show and all of that stuff. And where can people find you for your equipment?
So we have a website, hornparanormal.com. It's got all of our gear and apparel on there.
Yep. And I wrote a book. Yep. Shameless plug.
Yep. My wife's got her book on there.
It's going to be a trilogy. It's called The Lost Son.
I was going to mention that.
Oh, awesome. He's typing faster than me.
Yes.
Yep. Hornparanormal.com or Facebook. Who's Afraid of the Dark or just Horn Paranormal Research finds us.
I'm going to have you guys back on because we really didn't get in detail on anything.
No, it was fun though. I enjoyed this one.
And having a good time, but we definitely got to have you guys back on so we can get more detail for sure. And definitely want to get some equipment myself.
And your book, because I'm a reader.
Yes, and I had it written right here about because I printed off your about page and I had it right there. I wanted to talk about the lost son because I'm like, that sounds interesting.
It's Osiris. He comes back and his lost son, looking for his lost son. But I did a total Egyptian spin on the vampirism stuff.
Oh, wow.
Oh, interesting.
It's different. Yeah. And so the Lost Son, the trilogy, it's full of adventure.
So we're going to visit your guys' website. I'm going to be buying equipment. Patty's going to buy your book.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I want an XLS.
When do you even have time?
You get the cheap book. He's going for the expensive SLS.
That's what I want.
But seriously, when do you have time to do that? Because I have seen the stuff that you make, your crochet stuff, and it takes me forever. But
well, hold on. I'm going to bump in here. She'll get something started, and I think it looks good, but I don't crochet. And she'll put it up. She goes, "This sucks." And I'm looking over there, and she's pulling it apart. And I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, perfectionist. Yeah.
It's like you spent 3 days doing that.
I showed you what I had. Get a good light to go with your glasses, so that you have your light plus your light when you're doing that black yarn. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I wear magnifiers with lights like right here. I had them on last night.
Yeah, she got them at Amazon.
Yeah.
Nice. I would have to get care.
Well, guys, I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next event is next month. We're going to be in Virginia City at the ComCon 7.
Yeah.
Put on by Soul Circle Paranormal, Ryan McLeod and Tara McLeod.
And Shane.
And Shane Pittman's part of that.
Yep.
So the Tony remark.
Yeah, let's go back to
that. The first time I met Shane, well, actually, it was the second weekend. We met
the Rhodes.
Yep, we were at the Rhodes Hotel. It was just a small event. And I had a camera and I was filming everything for everybody there. And Shane, for some reason, kept calling me Tony.
Everybody's like, who's Tony?
He's yelling down the hall, hey, Tony, hey, Tony. And we're just kind of looking at each other
like, well, who's this guy?
Who's Tony? And then it's like, are you talking to me? You know, he's like, I don't know why I called you Tony. So that's the kind of joke, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I get that. Like they'll say, and I'm like, they're like, you don't answer. You're not calling my name.
So if you guys want an SLS, I do the pay it forward. I did one today, and all I have is people go on once a month. I do a pay it forward. I pay for like somebody's book or whatever they may offer. They might have a crystal shop or something, and I do a gift certificate for them, and then they go on there and they shop, and I pay it forward to that person. So at the end of the year, we're going to put in those 12 winners, one for each month, for an SLS. So that's
that'd be cool. So I'll have to check that out as well.
Yeah,
because I definitely want to get the XLS.
SLS only weighs 2 pounds though, so if you're in a quick hurry and you want to have backup equipment,
he wants the XLS.
Yeah, I do. I've already looked into detail at it. I've been on the site. I've got
I tell people, if you're like you only investigate every so often, it's just a few times a year starting out. SLS is fine, but if you want good results and if you do it a lot, you'd be a lot happier with the XLS.
If you guys can see my bookmarks on my computer here, I've got your website as a bookmark.
Nice.
I've got several other paranormal places I get equipment, Ghost Stop, Ghost Gear.
Nice.
Just Vortex Ghost Gear. I mean, I love Bob and Gina. I just got you guys right there, so I just go whoop.
That's awesome.
Thank you guys for having us on.
Absolutely, and you guys have a great evening. And thanks again for coming on and chatting with us. Patty didn't get much words in.
I never do. It's okay.
Well, when you got Gabby people,
that's why I like doing radio show.
It's perfect.
When we see you in person, me and Tony over there, we'll just be sitting in the corner.
Like, who's Tony? We're bringing a Tony.
That's awesome.
That is perfect. Well, you guys have
watch the end here. I got a little outro. It's got your guys' name on it. Watch it before you guys sign off. But thanks again, guys, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
appreciate
everybody.
you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Nice.
See you guys.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Tony says bye.
Hey, Tony.